We're doing a great topic here today with how's everybody doing out there? Where the craziness is going on right now today is October the 20th. It's Friday, October the 20th, 2023. The title of this segment is going to talk a little bit about Saturn and Pisces because I'm a Pisces. So this really affects those born in the sign of Pisces. And Saturn is a normal ruler of Capricorn. And since America is going through a Pluto return, and Pluto rules Scorpio, we find that these signs, Pisces, Capricorn, and Scorpio, are doing a dance, especially in the months of the rest of October, November, and around the middle of December, but more by December the 3rd. Because remember, in the other taping that I did on the Pluto return for the USA, I picked December the 3rd as the ending point of a crisis that started on October the 10th. The Pluto return October 10th, 11th, and 12th, with Pluto finally getting 1 degree away from the America USA's Pluto birth chart on December the 3rd. But then when you look at all the confusion that's going on, so the title of this is Saturn and Pisces International Constipation. The reason why I'm calling that is because Saturn is the Lord of time. It's the Lord of karma. And Pisces rules the collective consciousness of the world. Neptune rules Pisces. And the outer planets, which are Uranus, Pluto, and Neptune, they deal with the collective. So the whole world is a mess right now. And it's constipated, meaning we don't have a speaker in the house. As of I'm doing this tape 2:06 p.m. Eastern time on October the 20th. We don't have, October the 20th. We don't have a house speaker, and we are seeing international instability to a maximum where foreign aid cannot get to the people in the area of Gaza that they're trying to get, where especially for the Palestine people. We have a undercurrent stress point between religious groups and the Jewish group. Okay, Muslims, Jews, Christians kind of tie in this undercurrent of who is right and who is wrong. Remember, I talk about this dualistic nature causes stress in life in other videos that I've done. So Pisces can be one of the religious signs in the zodiac, along with Sagittarius. I think Pisces and Sag. Capricorn is more of the renunciate. So you do find a lot of Capricorns that turn to religion, but it's not that they represent the structure of religion. Capricorns, the carpenters of the zodiac. So they're the builders. Now, when you have Pisces, the dissolver, I mean, I really feel like Jesus Christ was a Pisces. Even Edgar Casey said that he was. And there are other astrologers. I've seen actually an astrological chart with Jesus Christ's birthday being March 1st. And being a triple Pisces. Now, Pisces wants to dissolve structure. It doesn't want to build. It deals with the higher, more lovelier heavenly realms of compassion and spirituality and love, and sensitivity is very high. This book here, The 12 Faces of Saturn, okay, by Bill Tierney, is a very good book on if you wanted to go more deeper into Saturn's personality in all of the signs. I wanted to read a little bit out of this book, okay? Especially if you're born of the sign of Pisces. Now remember, the mutable signs are, which Pisces is one of them, okay? Mutable signs: Gemini, Virgo, Sagittarius, and Pisces. As Saturn moves into Pisces, it already moved into Pisces as of March 8th of 2023. That's when it started. But then it retrograded and now it's been at 0 degrees. It stationed retrograde on June 17th of 2023 at 7 degrees. Then it went back into 0 degrees as of, I think, October the 10th, if I'm not mistaken. Let me get out my ephemeris here and see. Yeah, when it looks like October the 10th. Well, isn't that interesting that Saturn would go back into Pisces on the exact day, October 10th, 11th, and 12th, is when Pluto return was happening in America's chart. There's no mistakes in the universe for that. And so at 0 degrees of Pisces, Saturn will remain from October the 10th, and it won't station direct till November the 4th. Okay, coming up soon, November the 4th of 2023. And then it won't get to 1 degree until November the 27th, right after Thanksgiving. So, and then it's December the 3rd that Pluto finally gets 1 degree away from its return. So we have a lot of stress going on. Constipation, I'm calling it. Everybody from all religions that are fighting in this whole war, and all the politicians, all the leaders, they need to get a bottle of Pepto-Bismol, okay, and chug the whole thing down. Relax, calm down, try to see that connection of bliss that's inside and kind of dissolve some of the stress in the collective consciousness. But unfortunately, that's not going to happen, as you know. I've already written my book, Full Moon Message from the Pleiadians. We aren't going to get that kind of direction from the leaders on this planet. We don't have good enlightened leaders, so we're going to have to get them from above. So that's the extraterrestrial connection from higher levels. I wanted to read about Saturn and Pisces. It says here, as with any Piscean placement, Saturn in this sign can ascend to great heights of spiritual self-mastery, or it can plunge to earthbound depths of despair and darkness. Pisces is the most complex sign of the zodiac, even more multifaceted in its mysteries than Scorpio. Pisces is the end of a cycle of human experience on the evolutionary spiral, where we get to distill the deeper meaning of all those lessons we have to deal with in the previous signs. Whatever injuries, confusions, losses, and alienations have not been successfully transfigured and integrated into the spiritual essence of our totality are to be dissolved and sacrificed to a greater pool of consciousness where the energy pattern can be cleansed and reformulated. We see this with Jesus Christ taking on the sins of the world as a Pisces. Of course, he multiplied the fish. He took, I don't know, a couple of fish in a basket, and then he passed it on to, I don't know how many people, I think there was 5,000, and multiplied the fish. I mean, there's all these miraculous miracles, this whole idea of having ultimate compassion and forgiveness. So Saturn is about letting go, of the old and embracing all the wonderful new. So one of the affirmations is Saturn is going to move through Pisces for a 2.5-year period. And that will be from, November the 27th is at 1 degree. So you got about 2.5 years it takes to go through a sign. I let go of the old and embrace all the wonderful new. This is dovetailing with Pluto moving into Aquarius. Okay, Aquarius used to be ruled by Saturn before Uranus was discovered. Uranus rules Aquarius now, but Saturn used to rule Aquarius. So see all the dots connecting between Pluto and Saturn that's going on in the world right now. Pluto wanting to go into Aquarius, into a new model of life, ruled by the younger generation and a more youthful experience and more creative. Whereas Saturn wants to hang on to the old. Pisces, the good news is Pisces tends to be more spaced out and it lives in a dream world. Okay. Okay. We were the kind of like, luckily I have Mars in Capricorn in my astrology chart. So that's exalted. And Capricorn is the workaholics and the people that like to get up and work. I'm not a workaholic. I mean, I put, I'm 65 years old and I still put about, 6 hours of work a day in. And that includes all the female work too that I do on my female side. Okay, laundry, cooking, clean, making sure the dishwasher's filled, all that kind of stuff. I do all of it. So we Pisces tends to be all the chameleons, I guess is the word. I think that's the word for it. They wear a lot of different hats, and they can put on a lot of. They love Halloween for that reason, because they can hide behind all their costumes that they like to hide in. I'm just going to read a little bit more because the reason I was bringing Jesus Christ into it, because he really was the most elevated martyr, out of all the religious leaders, taking on the sins of the world and constantly being, he was nailed to a cross. So that this is all Piscean, to transform. So because Saturn, my point with international instability and constipation right now going on, is when Saturn's retrograde, it tends to slow things down, and Saturn, it creates obstacles. So here we have a lot of obstacles going on in the international consciousness, and frustration building because of it, until Saturn stations direct on November the 4th. So we have October the 20th. There's going to be a lot of stress, and there's going to be war. There's going to be, we already know that Israel is going to march into deeper, more of door to door, in Gaza. That's going to happen soon. So we have everyone at an all-time high of stress, even internationally now. A lot of law enforcement is on Saturn rules, kind of, not rules, but it deals with being disciplined, handling the boundaries. Pisces is water spilling out all over the place. Okay, so these two we got to get Saturn to move forward. That's my point. Saturn stations direct November the 4th, 2023. And it's going to be one hell of a ride until we get to November the 4th. And then we still got Pluto trying to get a degree away from the U.S.A. Pluto return by December the 3rd. And we really don't have Saturn at 1 degree of Pisces until November the 27th. So, let's pray and keep our attention that things don't get even more out of control, which they probably are. Saturn can lend control. But I put here, reading out again out of this book, 12 Phases of Saturn. We may live with unresolved issues in this lifetime that weigh us down due to our lack of understanding and or proper closure. Saturn in Pisces can thus be a difficult position for this sign, which already comes into the world sensing unfinished business, or a feeling that something from the past is haunting its consciousness, something that can't be easily defined. Yet Saturn is a planet that needs well-defined structure. On some level, Saturn can help the otherworldly Piscean imagination rise up from its nebulous ethers and find a home in forms of unearthly beauty and spiritual power. More about this soon, he says here, blah, blah. Saturn crystallizes experiences, making them very solid and real to us. Pisces experiences are often better left on the inner realms, where we can easily, silently engage in deep reflection and contemplation. But when made tangible, even some of our wildest fantasies can become problematic and nightmarish. We have a great tendency to feel that our inner life will take on a power of its own in our physical world. In short, there can be something oddly superstitious about this placement. A sad, oddly, I say oddly because Saturn normally would never take the irrational route. It usually pursues anything to its logical conclusion. So you can see the difference between the personality of Saturn and Pisces. Saturn wants to be, everything's got to be just right. They work hard. They're more about practicality, building structure. Pisces dissolves structure. Pisces is more in the etheric realm of the astral plane that tends to get lost in fantasy, but they're very highly creative. They make great artists, musicians, photographers. They rule the cinema screen. They make playwriters if they have a good Mercury combination with Neptune. But Saturn wants to stop the projector and freeze on certain bothersome frames so we can get stuck on images that were initially meant to be vivid, even bizarre, but relatively incidental. We now fixate on them, finding them all consuming. I'm sorry, we, we sensualize them and give them magical potency over us. This is not a smart idea. Curbing the power of negative imagination can be vital for us in this lifetime. Actually, melodrama is not what Saturn in Pisces needs. We need, it says Pisces has a whole lot of heartfelt feelings for the world and all its struggling inhabitants. This is the humanitarian project that's stuck in not food going into Gaza. Humanitarian, lack of humanitarianism also being stuck sometimes in the Ukraine war, with Syria on that border. This is Pisces, the humanitarian, wanting to help people, but feeling like there is a wall in front of them. That's Saturn in retrograde motion. That things, how do we overcome obstacles and boundaries, with Saturn? Saturn right now needs to station direct on November the 4th, which would be pretty much too late for people needing to get food and water and everything. So it's going to be a very, very intense time of power struggles going on, excuse me. Saturn typically fights such connectedness for fear that nothing definable and recognizable will remain. This is in relationship to the sign of Pisces. Such a state of affairs, just like the concept of eternity, scares Pisces. So it may block much of the true magic Pisces can provide. It is often best that we allow ourselves to feel empathy for our fellow beings. Do not want and do what we can to ease the transition we've all made from the more sublime dimension of the spirit to this denser plane where everyone is seemingly on his or own to create earthbound realities. The trouble is Saturn doesn't sense much real cosmic connection on this level. Conspiracy fears can be big with this untrusting Saturn in Pisces. Abandonment themes can be very common here, even if our parents were never out of our sight, but we were often out of their minds. I think Pisces here is saying that, the idea of healing energies in your brokenness. Since healing is important to Pisces and fixing what's broken works well for Saturn, together they can do wonders to help repair others who are life's walking wounded. That's a nice thing. I'm going to read that again. Since healing is important to Pisces and fixing what's broken works well for Saturn, together they can do wonders to help repair others who are life's walking wounded. This book is unbelievable for Saturn. Serving others in physical or mental pain was the foundation of his whole adult life. He's talking about Edgar Cayce having Saturn in Pisces and saying that he served others who are in pain. So a great amount of healing can be done with this aspect. It is the perfect placement for meditation and spiritual practices. Saturn often is the discipline that Pisces needs to experience those higher. So take the time now to be able to meditate. If you need to learn to meditate, give me a call and I can teach you inner grace meditation. Go on my website, yogavisionaries.com. You can read about it. Also, click the subscription button on my YouTube account so I get more people to listen to some of the education about astrology, and also my book, Full Moon Messages from the Pleiadians. And I also have original songs that I've composed that I put on here. So just to sum this up, Saturn wants structure, Pisces wants a dissolved structure, but they can work well together so that Pisces doesn't go into a daydream world and drift. Saturn is going to help Pisces rebuild their lives over the next 2.5 years. This is not Saturn in Pisces in its fall. It's not a weak spot. It's actually, I think it's a blessing for. But the international constipation that's going on right now with war and trying to get humanitarian services, water, food, medical supplies, and Saturn is stuck. All those, you see all those trucks lining up near the Gaza border in Egypt. They're waiting there. November the 4th, Saturn stations direct, but it doesn't get to 1 degree till just after Thanksgiving. We got to Pluto, so we're in a mess. And you know that. You don't need astrology or psychic to tell you that the world is really. So let go of the old and embrace all the wonderful new. This is the affirmation for Saturn and Pisces. I let go of the old and embrace all the wonderful new that the universe has for me. The other thing is forgiveness. We need to forgive the past and not get stuck in the labels. I'm this, I'm that, I'm Republican, I'm Democrat, I'm Muslim, I'm Hindu, I'm Christian, I'm Roman Catholic, I have black skin, I have white skin, I am male, I am female. It goes on and on and on. And it's driving the world in a crazy way. So you got to laugh at some of this stuff because it's so ridiculous. I mean, human beings are so they're just not that intelligent because they haven't stopped their minds and their consciousness to quiet it down. And when you become the cinema screen and you quiet down, then the movie that's being projected on the screen isn't so overwhelming and captivating. It doesn't hold on to you as much. Right now, everybody's holding on to a lot of anger and resentment and who's right and who's wrong. This is the dualistic thing that's going to be broken apart over the next, well, till at least the spring of 2026 as Pluto moves into the sign of Aquarius. And then Saturn is moving through Pisces. So we have this dance going on. That's the reason for the video. We have a dance going on between United States Pluto return, Pluto trying to move into the sign of Aquarius, Saturn trying to move into the sign of Pisces, Saturn, which used to rule Aquarius, Pluto, which rules, Scorpio, and Pluto is activating a lot of Scorpio energy in November. We've got a lot of, by October the 21st, let me see, October the 23rd, we have the sun moving into Scorpio, if I'm not mistaken, right? Yeah. So now Scorpio is coming into, so you take all of these signs and all these planets and all these transits and everything, and you have one big mess that will settle down by December the 3rd. Okay, if you're looking for a settle down point. Of course, if we want to settle it down by tomorrow, then everybody should just get into holistic healthcare. Deepak Chopra has been talking. How many books has he read? Almost 100. I worked for him 30 years ago. Look at where we are now. Are we getting anywhere? Is anything? I feel bad for him, and he's trying with other holistic healthcare practitioners around the world. It's just there's not enough about it. If everybody went to yoga class or they got acupuncture, acupressure, massage therapy, calm down, calm down, calm down. Do some affirmations. I let go of the old and embrace all the wonderful new that the universe has for me. And then the forgiveness, I forgive myself completely. I do have an affirmation on forgiveness that's quite long. If you email me, my email, go to my website, my email address is on there. I'll send you the forgiveness affirmation. It goes something like, let me see if I can remember it. I fully and freely release, bless, and let go of anybody who ever owed me anything. I cast out all judgment, criticism, and resentment on the Christ within, and I set myself free. And then it goes on. I'm sorry, that's why. So you can email me for that. Set myself free, da 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 da. And then you turn around and you do the opposite. Anybody who ever owed me anything fully and freely releases me, blesses me, and lets me go. They cast out all judgment, resentment on the Christ within. It's a really nice forgiveness affirmation, because we have to forgive the past. We have to let go of it now. This is the main lesson with Pluto going into Aquarius, Saturn going into Pisces. Letting go and using your spirituality, Pisces, and using the group dynamic, Aquarius, to elevate the vibrations so that we can get out of hate and judgment and constantly having to put ourselves in a category in order to only judge and fight with each other all the time. The mind needs to settle down and start listening to what the body and the soul wants rather than dictating to the body and the soul what they think. It's like a Capricorn administration telling it what to do and what all that. Divine judgment is what we need to get into. The impulse of divine grace. That's effortless, that they experience in the fifth and the sixth dimension that will be introduced when we make contact. But until we have contact with the higher races, the planet's in trouble. It needs to kind of have some really good teachers to educate it and get it back on track again. So I hope that helps. That's Saturn and Pisces. And God bless all the Pisces out there. And if you're born under the other mutable signs, Gemini, Sagittarius, Virgo, at some point as Saturn moves through Pisces, it's either going to sextile or square or oppose some of these signs. The opposite sign of Pisces is Virgo. So if you have, within the first few degrees of Virgo you're born, you're going to have Saturn opposing your sign, which means you're trying to create that balancing act between that aspect, between spirituality and practical life will be right in your face. So I wish you all the best. God bless. Namaste. Om Swaha.